my backrooms ain't being discovered today.
I don't feel like I've finished my meal.
Yeah.
But I was enjoying the meal.
It was a good thing that I was in a good mood.
Yeah, because Kris would have taken them all single-handedly. You don't know what he's capable of, man. Roll the tapes.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of The Film Angle, the podcast where we dive deep into the latest releases and unearth the classics to better our cinephilic curiosity. I'm Kris.
And I'm Alex. And today we're going to be exploring Kris's back rooms.
What?
Yeah.
I hope you mean that metaphorically and not physically, Alex, because my back rooms ain't being discovered today.
We'll find out throughout the episode.
We'll see how it goes.
But no, jokes aside, we're going to be, I want to say exploring again, but we're going to be reviewing, looking into...
Navigating
the latest film from A24, from a 20-year-old director, Backrooms. And we're also going to touch a little bit on Obsession as well, though we alluded to it last episode. Pretty terrible cinema experience there.
Yeah.
But
the worst. The worst
cinema experience. Maybe we'll go into that later. But yeah, so we're reviewing it from a very stop-starty version of the film. But still, spoiler alert, very positive on it. So
very positive, but it feels kind of like a memory, like a fractured memory in a way because of the experience.
Yeah, not great. But on top of that, you know, this kind of last couple of weeks, we've seen almost in a way, the way people have been talking about it is that the creator-led filmmakers are here. We've got two films that have come out somewhat back-to-back with people from backgrounds in YouTube, and people are saying, is this the Gen Z cohort of filmmakers making themselves known to the world?
Yeah. Is this excitement? Is this actually a movement? Or is this just coincidence? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mixture of all those things, maybe.
Both directors very young. So Curry Baker for Obsession, 26, and then what's his name? Kane. I did a lot of research in the run up to this episode, and now I've lost it as soon as the recording. Kane Parsons. Kane Parsons, 20 years old, but he was brought onto the film brought in to make the film when he was 16.
Yeah, that's when the internet series began, and when he was 16 years old. So yeah, what a fast track career trajectory. It's and we're
that's when Hollywood came knocking, which not jealous. Is this
the first podcast where we've talked about a filmmaker, let alone two filmmakers that are actually younger than us?
I imagine
dedicated to anyway.
Yeah, I imagine so. But
interesting.
It is interesting. I always found that recently going to see bands live and stuff like that, more and more, because we're into smaller indie bands. Bristol's got a good music scene. More and more, the lead singers, the people we're seeing are younger than us.
Yeah,
we're becoming the Radio 6 dads at the start, at the front of the audience.
I think you have to be 50 to apply for that role, so we've got a little bit of time left.
And bold.
But do you think with music, with indie music specifically, it's you're being, when you're younger than the people singing about their thoughts and their feelings and their experiences, it's you're being mentored and looked after in a way, and it's well, you got this to come, but don't worry, this is an exploration of that, and now you're past that, and you're hearing about these experiences, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm not quite there anymore, but I still like the music.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I guess as well, because a lot of music is about love stories, essentially.
Naive love stories.
And modern dating has changed a lot. So I don't always find that I can relate to that stuff, but I do love I do love being able to be yeah, fuck you.
Yeah. Well, we like that in our movies too. I think you and I are both big coming of age fans. But anyway, we're not talking about our tastes in indie music. It doesn't matter though. So we've got two guys here. We talk broadly about the two of them as filmmakers. There is a bit of an age gap, I think, with Obsession. Remind me of the filmmaker again.
Obsession is Curry Baker.
Curry Baker being in his mid-20s, like 26,
Yep.
I think.
Yep. I'm gonna check this. I'm gonna check that it's not Barker, because you've made me question it now. But
No.
let me just check that. God, typed in Curry Maker. It's Curry Barker. For goodness sake, scratch the episode.
Oh my god.
I did so much. Well, I say I did so much, but I did look into the kind of behind the scenes of these films and did more interview style stuff with Kane Parsons, which I think is really interesting to kind of get his background.
That sounds like you interviewed Kane Parsons.
Yeah, I wish. If he wants to come on, I'd love to chat to him.
Sure.
I think it's very interesting because, especially with Kane Parsons, he's not like a cinephile in that sense. He's actually more.
Well, he's only 20. I mean, he's only had so much time to watch movies, isn't he?
Well,
He's been
100%.
focused on this project since he was 16.
But he's like an internet kid more than anything. Like the internet is what interests him, and that's how you come across something like the Backrooms. I guess in a way we should probably start by discussing each of these films separately. Do you have one that you would prefer to listen? Would you audience right now? Do you have one that you would prefer to listen to? No. Would you have one that you would prefer to start with?
Like I think it's more recent. It's more of the moment.
Yep.
I think we talk about Backrooms first.
Okay.
It's the one we watched most recently, I suppose. So our memory of it's going to be a little bit better.
Let's do Backrooms.
Let's do Backrooms. Yeah.
Roll the tapes.
Okay, so plot in this film. We have two main protagonists, really. It's kind of a good dual protagonist narrative. We have Clark, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, and then we have his shrink, his psychologist, played by Renate Ransva. Her character was again
Mary.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure. Maybe I need to Google that one as well.
This is an episode flooded with names that we have to look up and make sure we're saying correctly. But no, so Clark, played by Chiwetel, is a frustrated field architect who is now, he would say, a highly functioning alcoholic working in a furniture store, and his job is flooded with mundanity, and it's not performing well. And he visits his shrink, played by Renate, and she kind of has a bit of a backstory too. She has a backstory where her mother was neglectful conspiracy theorist who didn't let her daughter leave the house. And it's about how these two narratives and these two people's trauma kind of intertwine as the story and the discovery of the Backrooms comes to be via the back of Clark's furniture shop.
Yes. And the Backrooms is essentially a bit of an internet meme that started mainly as a visual imagery thing on 4chan.
That makes sense.
And then there was a whole kind of movement around it about this kind of unfamiliar place and the eerie sense of it and the visuals and the language of that place. And then Kane Parsons picked that up and turned it into a series of YouTube shorts, essentially.
Yes. Yeah.
Which kind of explored the Backrooms. And a lot of that, none of it was live action. It was all, he developed it all on a software called Blender.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a completely computer animated.
I didn't know that.
Like, exploration through the rooms, and there's like weird things, and there's like creatures and stuff in there. But it's like a very similar to what we see in the film. At the end of the day, is just kind of like this slow burn move through this space that just the look and feel of it just kind of gets under your skin a little bit.
So in that original YouTube series, there was no use of a camera. Is that what we're saying?
I'm pretty sure it was all fully animated. Yeah.
That's amazing because it's got this very VHS, grungy visual aesthetic to it. I guess it was really hard to tell. It looked. I was kind of wondering. I was like, how are these obviously this is some sort of computer generated imagery going on here, but these spaces feel very tactile and very familiar. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's turning the concept of backrooms is turning something familiar and heavily occupied by human beings, like office space and the home environment, and then turning that on its head and making it very garish and very inhospitable and nightmare like. I feel like I've had dreams that places look like this. It's like the place you know and you live in, but there's some little details that are just off. And I think Chiwetel actually says that in the film. It's like something you know, but the details are wrong. It's like he says to Renate, and she gives an analogy back to him. No, he gives the analogy to her that it's like somebody asking an alien like if they've seen a dog before and asking them to draw it out of memory.
Yeah, 100%. It is that sense of like, because there's like a nostalgia element to it, and I think Kane spoke a lot about this feeling of like when you're a child, these are the images that kind of like stick with you. That your kind of understanding of the world is like less detailed, and it's more like I remember a specific hallway of a hotel, or I remember a specific like thing, but the way you're remembering it is not exactly like you're saying with the dog, which is a good analogy in the film. Is kind of like, yeah, it's familiar and unfamiliar all at the same time. It's nostalgic for a period of time or an analog period of time, which obviously our filmmaker probably isn't partial to. So there's almost like a yearning for simplicity as well.
Interesting.
And then there's also a big kind of consumerism element to it, which I think is interesting because, you know, we're inside this furniture store in the film. And it's very much set in the 90s, and our therapist is a salesperson at the end of the day as well, selling a book, selling a
we have a
kind of
TV
theory.
advertisement from her.
Yeah, there's a lot of TV advertisements, and then when they get into the back rooms, like those things, T-shirts, products are just kind of like scattered, but they're the same and not the same all at the same time. It's a really like interesting use of visual language, and I think that is what works the strongest in the film, is just exploring this space and like getting to
100%.
well, you don't get to understand it, but like just getting to see it and live in it. And although the film isn't like scary, it does get under your skin a little bit. And I think it is just from like the unknown of what's around the corner at all times whenever we're in the back rooms. And I think that worked for me, and I really enjoyed that element of the film.
Yeah, I can't really think of a film in recent memory that really depended on the viewer and the viewer's experiences and the way the viewer sees the world, or subverted sort of paranormal worlds. It depends on how your eye kind of works and how it's connected to your brain. It's kind of very dreamlike in that way, and I really like how I think you and I will slightly differ on what particular moments work in the film and what particular moments do. I think we both agree that there are extended sequences where we're either following the opening scene or it's Chiwetel exploring this world without context, when we're just going deeper and deeper and exploring, you know, when is enough that human curiosity gets in the way of you actually self-preserving and not going down this rabbit hole further and further. It's kind of like a little bit like Alice in Wonderland, the whole rabbit hole thing that I was thinking of watching this film. But whenever the narrative comes into play and the metaphorical reasoning for the back rooms kind of becomes a little bit clearer. It never becomes clear as a picture as to why this place exists, but it comes clear why these people are seeing these certain things, these certain elements in the back rooms, and how they relate to them. As that came in to the film, I felt that's when the film got less strong for me.
Yeah.
And I liked the vagueness. I liked being in these familiar spaces, but I had not a single idea what was going on. Turning something familiar and making it inhospitable is a really scary thing. But, you know, as a narrative, wasn't well written, I don't think, and the performances, I think I saw the immaturity in the filmmaker, no fault to his own, because it's amazing in terms of the visual aesthetic and how he's established that. Really grounded and like seasoned pro, and how he managed to solicit tension out of me as a viewer, amazing. But yeah, I'm not sure the human side of it was really my cup of tea.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I've seen a lot of people talk about that and how, does the Backrooms work as a film? Do we want to contextualize it with an actual story and characters? And because when you do so, it's trying to live in that same world of like
Yeah.
metaphorical vagueness. And obviously, yeah, you kind of, it feels a bit heavy handed, doesn't it,
It
at
wants to
times?
be an art. It's a film that wants to be an art film so much. Like the actual concept is screaming and like, let me be an experimental movie. And the transition to film and a bigger studio and A24 being behind it is kind of made it. Well, we have to have a sort of like grounding to let the audience come in and kind of like root for a character. I feel that gets in the way.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it could have worked personally. I don't. I just think
Yes.
the
Okay.
script is the weakest part of
But
the film here.
it felt tacked on. Like this comes from an internet series that we've watched in bits and pieces, and
Yeah,
we know it's a pure thing, and we're taking a pure thing, and we're putting that additional element of story on there because we have to. And
yeah.
I felt that need to do that.
I wonder if maybe I didn't bump into it as much because I've only seen like images and small clips. I haven't actually sat down and watched the YouTube series.
Okay,
So for me, like this was majority new.
that's fair.
I remember just seeing bits and pieces about the back rooms over the last kind of like 5 years and seeing like the odd like 30-second clip and stuff like that and being like, oh yeah, this looks really interesting. Like what a weird space.
Probably most people will come to this film in a
Yeah.
similar position as you.
So if it feels very much like the YouTube shorts or like the short film
Yeah,
series,
yeah.
and then obviously just feels like a tacked on story, I can see why that would happen. For me, I don't mind having story. I could see why a studio would want to contextualize it in that way. I just like again, I just think it's the weaker element. I think we've got two characters who are very like internal in their own feelings, and they also have to live in this world that like isn't very like expressionist. We are going for like almost like grounded and then
It's grounded.
holding back our emotions though.
Did you not feel that the real world in this story, was kind of artificial in a way? It kind of felt like we were in a big internal set. You know,
Yeah,
the sky box that you see in the film is this sort of like picturesque blue sky with fake looking clouds. They almost seemed like they were drawn or like a map painting in the background. So I'm still parsing what to kind of think of that these characters are escaping from this, or they're existing in the world, but they don't feel like they belong in the world a little bit. There's a little bit of something's not right in my own being here. I'm not satisfied by what the world has to offer me. Like they're a little bit turned off, is a bit Truman Showy at
yeah,
times. But that was more visual than actually the world. It's very close knit. Like when our characters only are interacting with a certain number of characters, and it's quite a small cast actually. Um, I would like to talk about the performances. Actually, I think Chiwetel's fantastic. I think he does the best of what he's given.
yes. I think he's
Um,
very. I think he's very good as well. He's definitely the strongest element of the film. Yeah, yeah. To be honest, he is good. I was and I don't think this is Renata Ranciv's fault, but I do find that I found her performance to be a little stilted, and I think it is because the script wanted her to be very
Stoic.
stoic, and I don't think it quite worked. And we've obviously seen her be incredible in very recent films. And even in other English language films like A Different Man, like she's very good there. So it's nothing to do with
I
her
mean,
kind of
her
like
thing is when she is successful, she is stoic. That is a quality of hers that she weaponizes very well under the right script and maybe the right director. Um, yeah, I do feel that she has a narrative. We spoke about the background with her and her mother. That seems to be like what's propelling her to be sympathetic or empathetic towards other people and wants to actually help other people, and her being locked up her whole life is kind of like, well, I kind of don't want other people to go the same way as I did. But then we get the commercial greed side of her too that isn't overly explored. So I was always a little bit confused about what motivated her. And then, by the end of the films, if we're gonna, I won't say too much, but she kind of gets thrusted into the spotlight and did I really feel that like I really was like, oh my god, I want her to succeed. I don't really know what was driving her other than survival. Um, yeah, it's a little bit of a mixed bag for me in that way. I think visually it's incredible. It's worth saying Kim Parsons did the soundtrack himself too.
Yep.
So creatively, I mean, how can you be angry with the enthusiasm and like it's cool that a studio just let a 20-year-old make a movie. He's probably Well, he was probably 19 when he
he was
started.
19 when he was filming it.
That's a big
they
risk.
gave it's a $10 million budget. I think they put a lot of good people around him, like Osgood Perkins, and James Wan, I think, was a producer on this.
Oh wow, okay.
So was Sean Levy, which I know we spoke.
I did. I was surprised when I saw that on the credits at the end. Yeah, Sean Levy.
We spoke badly about him last week, but he is somebody who works well with younger people.
Yeah, that's
new to
great.
the world with Stranger Things and stuff like that. And then Mark Duplass,
yes,
another person very good at working with new and upcoming filmmakers, somebody who's very grassroots himself. And
yeah.
So I think they surrounded him with people to assist in the process. That's not that isn't to take it away from him. That is almost like just having somebody there as a mentor. I think this is very clearly
but you'd hope
a
so.
singular vision from Kane Parsons.
Well, you'd hope there'd be support because I think it's very unethical, even if the person's very talented. I think it's very unethical just to give the whole thing to a 19-year-old and say, "Hey, $10 million, do your best."
Yeah, we're treating this more like a marketing stunt than actually like.
And that's what I was worried about coming into the film.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that it was a gimmick. I did feel like this person, Ken, definitely has like this could be one of the great filmmakers and 10 years of really great practice and everything. There definitely is a visual aesthetic and an understanding for somebody who's hasn't got the most intense background in cinematic language, understands cinematic language inherently. Especially those moments of tension and horror where I felt like I was falling into the film. It really did plant me into those scenes with Chiwetel just going deeper into this labyrinth of seemingly endless rooms, and they were genuinely terrifying. I even jumped at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I'm the same. Should we delve a little bit into spoilers?
Yeah,
so
let's go
we
for
can
it.
talk about one big element near the final part of the film. So
physically big.
physically big. So spoiler warning for the Backrooms. When we move on to other films, we won't be spoiling them. But like right now, spoiler warning for the Backrooms. So the kind of big monster at the end, which is teased throughout the film. There's something behind the corners of these corridors. There's something behind the doors that's taking people.
Yeah, very violently.
Violently. It is revealed near the end part of the film that it is a giant-sized version of Clark in his Captain... I can't remember the name of the pirate, but it's a big pirate. He's in a big pirate costume.
Yeah, this is quite funny because the theme of his furniture shop is pirates and Ottomans, which is like very at odds. So it's like an Ottoman themed pirate store, and he's dressed as the captain. Doing one of those cheesy 90s adverts that you've seen in like Goodfellas, like Maury's wigs never come off sort of thing. So that was interesting. I was not what I was expecting at all. I thought it was caked in shadow, the whole movie that was suggested. I thought we were going to get something a lot more teethy and demonic, and then we get something very different. Yeah. A big squishy, putty looking claymation looking Clint instead.
Yeah, it's
Clark.
A lot of people rubbed up against that in a weird way. I
don't find it scary.
I quite liked it. So the whole thing with the Backrooms is that like anybody who enters it remembers them, but it remembers them in a strange way. So it creates an almost like duplicate of them.
Remember the analogy of the dog earlier.
Analogy of the dog. And then Clark enters the Backrooms and with a couple of his colleagues, which end up getting killed to some extent. There's a few other kind of like weird characters. There's like a woman with like a few faces. There's a small guy in a wheelchair and a light, which you can like switch on and off, isn't there? Like there's like these weird amalgamations of people that have clearly entered previously, and he decides that he wants to stay there. He's like shaking off his responsibilities, shaking off everything that he hates about the real world, and it's just like, I can live here and nobody can bother me, and I can eat the people that live here, and
Yeah,
he succumbs to his
that's weird.
own like
But
he succumbs to being like, I just want to be in the back rooms away from everyone.
very quickly.
But it turns him almost quite, well, I say almost, it turns him into quite a murderous person.
Yeah, that did seem to happen quite quickly to me.
Well, yeah, but like, does time play differently in the back rooms?
I can see how somebody could go absolutely mad. It's like prison, like solid, like, confinement times a billion. But he does earlier in the story. I do like the way when he first discovers the back rooms, and he almost becomes a lot filled with self pride. In navigating and starting to build a map for himself. And then the two younger people that work for him, who do some of his commercial videos, he enlists them to show them, because these young people, I'll pay them and they'll believe me and they'll come through the doorway, and I'll get video evidence and I can prove to my shrink that I'm not crazy. Perfect ending. But he becomes prideful. It's almost like he becomes a modern Columbus. He's venturing into new territory, and he can have ownership and he can have pride in this. And it makes sense that he gets obsessed with this. But that did seem very fast. We lose him for a while, and he seems to be of sane mind. Cut to Renate for a while, and then come back to him, and he's fully insane. I'm not sure. Like, I felt really whiplashy to me.
I don't know. I didn't bump up against that. The main things I bumped up against were like some of the weaker elements in the script, but like that was like, we need the film to go somewhere, right? We need the film to do something now.
It just felt accelerated. That I was like, oh, I'm adjusting to this new thing now that the film wasn't really doing, but now it's doing it.
Yeah, but in the nicest way, I wouldn't have wanted the film to be any longer.
No, it wasn't long. Was it like an hour and 45 minutes?
Hour and 45. I don't think it could have sustained.
Yeah.
Much more. Like, that was enough for me. But I don't know. Like, I guess maybe you're looking more into the classical structure of a film now, and being like, we have to crescendo to something in the third act. And maybe like a film like The Backrooms, maybe you're right. Maybe it doesn't need to do something like that.
Like, what it does really well is geography. Oddly, for a film about labyrinths that don't make sense and seemingly go on forever. Actually, they do go on forever. It's the moment where he first goes in, he's going room to room, and you're like, okay, I guess I can actually track where the path is backwards. But he's stressing me out right now because he's getting further and further and further. But the scene when they first discover Clark's beast, but we don't see him as that yet. It's just something they're running away from. And the two younger people get killed in the process, and we're getting the POV of Chiwetel just getting deeper and deeper by escaping and following, and we don't know where we are anymore. We're out of the beige rooms, we're into these weird bathhouse looking rooms and Christmas tree lights and everything. I'm like, that panics me, because I'm just like, well, like, I'm stuck there forever then. That's the sort of, it's primal fear that the film does really well. Script, not so much for me.
Yeah.
And so it's just a real mixed bag, and you come out of the cinema kind of feeling a little bit, not deflated, but you're confused about how you felt about a film that, for a lot of it, you really, really enjoyed, and it just kind of falls off the end for me.
Yeah. I didn't like the way it ended, but yeah, I was actually a big fan of
Hard film to end, though, isn't it?
I liked Pirate Clark. I liked that he was weird. I liked that
he likes to take big bites out of people.
He liked to take big bites out of people. Having something chase you through the back rooms, I think, is quite fun. And it being weird in its own sense, I think, is fine. I don't need classic horror. I think there is just something like it adds to this kind of like unnerving familiarity. It's like being chased by like one of the old like McDonald's characters or something like that.
It was also reminding me as we progress through these spaces, and there's these big open space with different tiers and different floors, and it's just, you can fall free anymore. It kind of reminded me of like adult version of Monsters Inc. The way that ends, where they're going for the
Yeah.
big door network at the end, and
Yeah,
it's
especially when there's like she's up high, isn't she?
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like this room of like ends of houses, but
yes,
it's like almost like a skyscraper's height.
yeah.
Yeah, they felt very much like that. Yeah,
The Happy Meal thing works too.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, when she kind of gets away from Pirate Clark, and then she is picked up by Mark Duplass's like scientist character
yeah,
and a
yeah.
bunch of others, and it's revealed that they have been networking the Backrooms, and then it just ends.
Yeah, they've been there for a few years. Navigate. They're all in hazmat suits.
Yeah, but they clearly go in and out because there is a scene with Mark Duplass and his family at one point, and he's watching. He sees the Pirate Clark commercial, and obviously something clicks in his mind of like,
Yeah.
oh, I've seen this in the back rooms, like something
Yes.
from there. There must be an opening there. Like I don't actually know what's going through his mind at that point, but I was assuming he'd be like, that's the key to everything or something like that.
It's
maybe.
like deep ocean space where like 1% of it is being navigated by the government, and they're surveying what has been navigated, and he just happens to trip one of their cameras one day, and that's the whole way Mark Duplass comes into it and recognizes him. But yeah, it's a bit Stranger Things at the end, isn't it? I think our whole party that went to see it kind of felt the same way, where it felt like I'm not really interested in this. It's a little bit, we have to wrap this up some way, and it's like, oh, we're normalizing the environment too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would have liked her, like, if I was doing it, I almost would have made it seem like she had gotten out of the back rooms. And then, like, you pull out, the camera pulls out of the furniture store and it's revealed she's still in the back rooms or something like that. I don't know, like, this to me was just like, there was a vagueness which I knew we'd be getting from a film like this at the
yeah,
ending,
yeah,
but then there
yeah,
was like a bluntness to it as well that I was like, oh, okay, I don't feel like I've like finished my meal,
yeah.
but I was enjoying the meal.
I hate to be like sounding. I don't want to sound pretentious or anything, but I would love to have this a bit more of like a Skinamarink experience where it was just like I want to be at the end of a film like this, and I still don't want to know where I am. Like I want to be completely confused but completely disturbed.
I mean, you are a little bit confused.
I mean,
We don't really know what
I
Mark
don't
Duplass was doing.
know, but I'm not really that obsessed with why the Backrooms exists. I mean, supernatural, and we have to take everything with a pinch of salt. But it's I don't. There was too much clarity for me. Oddly, I felt too familiar with what was going on, and too much for me to grip onto. I wanted to be more confused. Isn't that weird? I wanted to, because I was confused at the start, and I was intense for me, and I lost it.
Yeah.
I lost it. I lost it. Yeah.
Um,
Like, I mean, the mental health aspect. Can you imagine you went in a space like that? After an hour, you'd be like Doolally, wouldn't you? You'd be like him at the end of the film, but pretty quickly.
yes. Yeah. I
Yeah.
was surprised how quickly he ran to his therapist and was like, "This is real." I'm like,
Yeah,
you sound crazy,
yeah,
dude.
you do. You're sweating profusely, and you look like you're about to kill her. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's had a lot of buzz in the the weeks, the months up to its release. We've been hearing about A24 working with a 20-year-old director for a long time. I think it did enough for me to be like, I'm interested in this world, I'm interested in this filmmaker, and we'll go from there. But yeah, it was good. It was good. I liked it. I mean, is this internet culture now merging with Hollywood? Is this the start of that?
Interesting though. I think that conversation will become. No, I don't think so. I don't think either of these films that we're talking about today rely on internet culture as a theme. They're surprisingly throwbacky, both of these movies,
That's so true.
which is promising. And
Or
it's
or is it just like more nostalgia, but just now more for like
only
our
nostalgia
childhood?
for two time periods that neither of them have experienced.
Yes,
Yeah.
our childhood in
Yeah.
a way more than theirs, right?
I mean, I was born in '96, so I wasn't really that conscious of the '90s.
Yeah. Are you
Um,
technically are you Gen Z or a millennial, or are you on the,
I'm on the cusp. I
You're on
think
the
I
cusp.
think they call them Zillennials.
you're a zillennial?
Yeah,
Yeah. I am a millennial. But I'm on the outskirts,
Yeah.
like the ends,
Yeah, I think like a proper millennial, like you're born late '80s,
Yeah.
right?
I feel like you're more of a Gen Z if your whole life has had like some form of like internet technology throughout.
That makes
Whereas,
sense.
you know,
We were more
I would say
hybrid.
like yeah, like the
Uh,
first 8 years of my life probably didn't have any of that. I do remember getting a computer, which maybe that was like '99. It coincided with Star Wars Episodes
oh
One,
wow.
because I remember having like a pod racing game and stuff like that. And then I remember the early days of Harry Potter. Like I wanted to get onto the Harry Potter website, and it was a dial up, so you had to unhook your phone, set up the Harry Potter website, and then it would take I can't even remember how long it used to take, but it would slowly like
Oh, like
like
yeah,
to
dial-up internet. Yeah,
slowly load a page
that was
after
the
an
first
hour.
movie I saw in the cinema was Philosopher's Stone.
Was
And
it?
yeah,
That's interesting. I
2001. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So yeah, so somewhere between like '99 and 2001, I got my first, well, family
yeah,
computer,
big
family
old unit
PC.
that
Yeah,
weighed a ton.
big old unit.
Yeah, but yeah, I
But yeah,
was
like internet in terms of like freely being able to access Wi-Fi and internet, probably not until like 2006, 7, 8.
that seems quite late.
I wasn't in this country though, so maybe that's
You're yeah,
yeah,
you were hopping.
yeah.
Yeah, you was backpacking at 10. No, like my relationship with the internet is very. I feel like everybody thinks that their childhood was the best time to be a child, but it was a very interesting time where I would be on the internet till 12 a.m. at night. You know, playing flash games and all sorts. But during the day, I was like kicking the football. You know, it was a really good time. I have nostalgia for that certainly, but everybody has nostalgia for their childhoods. But yeah, yeah,
I just think like being Gen Z is like not knowing a time without the internet. Whereas I think we do have. It was brief, but I remember a time before
yeah.
internet access and phones and stuff like that.
I do remember bringing the computer into the family home, and it was a shared computer, and getting wireless internet for the first time, and it was awful. It was so bad. Yeah, God, yeah, and it's interesting. Yeah, innocence lost.
Innocence lost. Innocence lost. Well, let's move on to the other film that we wanted to talk about, which was Obsession. So, roll the tapes.
Is that your new? Is that the new thing? Do we have to do that every episode now?
Yeah, I'm gonna say roll the tapes, and
Roll
then
the tapes.
I know when I'm editing to put in like a little video.
Oh, you didn't tell me about this. Okay, what did I do during this? Did I just join my hand up with you and go roll the tape?
You can say roll the tape as well.
Or did I
That's fine.
just take my top off or something?
I mean, we've already rolled the tapes, so you don't need to. But I mean,
Tapes be rolling.
yeah. At the end of Obsession, at the end of this segment, you could take your top off and all. I'll insert another kind of little transition video if you like.
That can be the start of our Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah, the topless.
Patreon, OnlyFans, mate.
Oh god, I have to give it away for free.
Okay, Obsession. Now, this is a film that kind of came out of nowhere for me. I remember it was only a few weeks up until its release that I heard about this film having a really interesting premise of somebody uses a kind of mythical one-wish willow to make a wish that the girl that he fancies will love him more than anything in this world. And as you can expect, not everything goes to plan. And I thought, oh, that sounds like a really interesting premise. Like you can dive into a lot here.
It's a very Jordan Peele or Osgood Perkins premise, isn't it? Where you're just this has sort of not worked before, but was hearing really good things.
Yeah, definitely. And then we saw the trailer when we went to go see Hokum.
Yes,
which we didn't
that
review.
was my first exposure to this project. Yeah,
which we didn't review because that was in our little hiatus. But we're both fans of Hokum. But like Hokum had like a bunch of trailers for horror films before it.
Yeah,
and they all looked fantastic.
Yeah, a little bit mixed on the Passenger one, but yeah,
I thought that looked good. I think we might have missed the window to see that in the cinema now, but I'll happily catch up with Passenger.
Yeah,
clearly been overshadowed by the fact that Backrooms and Obsession have come out, but Obsession is a different beast again. So Curry Barker comes from, again, the YouTube world, but also a bit more kind of like does like comedy skits. There's a lot of people now on the internet who do like little comedy skit stuff, isn't there?
Yeah.
So he comes from that background and decided to make a feature film. He made it for £750,000 or dollars, should I say? We're in the States. So like,
is that really how much it costs?
yeah, under $1 million. It's now it's made over 100 times its budget back. So it got picked up. I can't remember who it definitely paid for its kind of distribution release. So it had a $15 million sale. So it then had that behind it as well to help it out, and had a big studio come along. But in the big scheme of films and the world of films, like that's insane. And I think the fact that the original budget is just 750K is just amazing. But it doesn't look like, in the nicest way, it doesn't look like an amateur indie film. It doesn't look like it had, they were scraping for cash to make it, which sounds crazy because 750K is a lot of money. But in the film world, that's like peanut.
And the film looks so polished. It's directed with such precision and control, and it feels like a real throwback. It feels like a midnight movie. To be like, it feels like a future cult movie. Well, I think it's beyond cult at this point. That I'm going to come back to this quite a lot. I think I'm really excited to talk to you about it. Despite our experience, as we preluded to, the movie prevailed the experience, which is really rare. Really rare.
100%. And to put this into context for the experience we had about 30 odd teenagers come in. Like just before it started, all in and out of their seats, up and down.
Occupied the whole front section of the screen.
Occupied the whole front section, on their phones, talking to each other. More of their friends came in later during the film, screaming and just generally being rowdy, winding the audience up. They definitely,
Oh, it was... People were like hissing at them like villains.
Yeah.
Like, it was like going to like a pantomime. But
it was very difficult because you are faced with like 30. I'm pretty sure they were all boys. Like 30 boys must have been at least looked 18 to be able to get into the film. So like it's somewhat
Well, am I gonna be the guy that goes like I'm the hero and like just get
You had one guy tell them to shut the fuck up, but like I don't know, I wasn't confident enough to not feel like I wasn't gonna get beaten up.
And that shut the fuck up made it worse as well. So
it did.
It did. They just,
then the staff came in quite late into the film by that point.
Yeah, like coming into the vast act. Yeah.
Tried to kick them out, couldn't kick them out. Reportedly called the police. Police never turned up in the end. Ended up staying in the screen to try limit what was going on, but by this point the film had been like stopped and rewound a little bit and then put back on. So as you can see, it was just
during a very, very vital moment as well.
Yeah, it was not a good experience, and that way you could never like fully get into the film because there was always something either in your peripheral going on. Like I just wanted to sink into this film, and there were periods of time where I could. And like you said at the end of the screen, it was like, it's such a shame this happened because I was enjoying the film.
It was a good thing that I was in a good mood that night.
Because Kris would have taken them all single-handedly. You don't know what he's capable of, man. It's a good thing you teenagers didn't.
Absolutely,
it's a good thing Kris was not in a bad mood.
Yeah.
He was gonna fuck
if it's a full moon. Oh my god,
this guy.
God, I have to put my money where my mouth is. The thing that was crazy was I'm terrible. I really get distracted easily. I think you're the same.
Yeah.
Where even if someone has even just one mobile phone, and even if it's dimmed in front of me, I immediately hate that person. I immediately develop a hateful.
And you focus on them because you're like, I'm gonna say something to them.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, I'm not.
Yeah. and then you're more frustrated with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even when they were quiet during the screening, we were quite high up, so I put my hands like in a class motion, like my other hand like here, and put it there so that I couldn't see the screens because they do distract me. So I was like,
I was not sitting next to you, but I would have loved that image of you just watching the film like this.
Yeah, it was just like up to the mic. I did that. So it's like I was almost creating a VR set for myself, but then my hands got tired. I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, okay."
It's so annoying because it's these situations happen. Now, I don't want to linger too much on it because that's not what this episode is about. But like, for this makes me worried about going to the cinema sometimes because when you have such a bad experience, it's like this is what kills cinemas because I already plan how I watch certain genres of films. Like for me, that was very much like, all right, it's a horror film. We got to go midweek. We got to go later in the day because there'll be less people around. Blah blah blah. Because you don't want the teenage audience. But I did well. We shouldn't have forgotten because we had a teacher in the group. But like it was half term that week. We should have factored that in. Maybe
I don't know. It just feels
it
like
was particularly bad. It was a particularly bad experience.
post COVID, it just seems like I don't know, apathy has developed amongst the globe,
Yeah.
and people are just less conscious of other people's experiences and how we develop things. Um, I'm like, I don't know about you, but even if I have a packet of sweets or something like that, I'm really like choosy about the moment I go to Russell. Like I'm really, I like to think I'm very polite. If it's a quiet scene where there's no sound, I'm not gonna go for a sweet. I'm gonna wait till like some crashing and some gunshots are going off, and then I'll pick my moment.
Why are some people just like so unaware of themselves and their surroundings? Rustling has been the biggest thing in all of these films. There have been like serial rustlers. Hokum was the worst because it was directly behind us.
Yeah,
But yeah, M was able to shoot them evils enough for them to stop.
I
So
think
like,
it's the people you surround yourself with. I think we all learn it. We all learn not to do it because somebody, when we were a kid, or somebody in our life told us at one point that that's really loud. Can you stop doing that? And you're like, oh yeah, I never really thought about my noise levels. And then you kind of just, you learn by doing, don't you? So, if you're surrounded by people who equally don't give a shit, then you're never going to learn that skill. So it's probably not intentional a lot of the time, but I do love talking about these sort of things, but yeah, it is a flip of the coin now, and I don't remember it always being that way. And I've always been sensitive to my cinema experiences, but you go once a week. If you go to the cinema regularly, it becomes you recognize the archetypes when you're sitting in your screen and you see someone come in or a group come in. You're like, oh god, I know what this is gonna be. And
yeah,
you're rarely wrong,
rarely
unfortunately.
wrong.
I don't like to go with prejudice or tar people with the same brush. But yeah, you smell it. You can smell it a mile away.
Literally.
Literally, yeah.
Sometimes.
The nachos permeating the air.
Yeah, hot dogs and nachos, man. It's a weird,
Vinegary
thing.
snacks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird cinema food.
Anyway, granddad session over.
Yeah. The movies aren't like what they used to be.
The
but,
moving pictures.
The moving pictures.
They move too fast now.
Yeah, Obsession. I really dug this film actually, and I really want to see it again. And I was hoping I would get a chance to, but we got other films we want to see in the cinema, and I was hoping its streaming release because it was originally going to be like the 2nd of June, so I'd have time to watch it again before this. But it's doing so well, they've pushed that, which is good because
Yes.
that was only like a 2 week of it being in cinema.
Yeah, I applaud them. Fair play. They deserve it.
Yeah, and like the word of mouth is doing gangbusters with this film. I think it's had its 3rd weekend in a row. The percentage go up, which is almost unheard of. A film comes out and its first week it makes a big chunk of money and then slowly goes down. This has been a film that came out, made a good chunk of money, and then just keeps going up weekend after weekend. More and more people wanted to see it. But I think I think it plays into some like really interesting themes about masculinity, relationships, accountability, responsibility, consent, and it explores these things in a really unique way, and then also like explores the horror of those things in this particular scenario in a way that's just like, oh god, because again,
Clenched teeth. Yeah.
I think this is scarier than the Backrooms, but it's still not.
100% agree.
It's still not the scariest film in the world, but the scariness comes from the innate sadness behind some of it.
Because I imagine it's a very heightened version of what I imagine a lot of people are experiencing in life, being trapped in relationships or not having the initiative or the self-belief to call something quits whenever it should be called quits, or the fear that what will happen to them if they do call it quits as well. It's the ultimate be careful what you wish for film. And there's there's a lot of primal scares in this, mainly from performance.
See, I didn't see it so much as like, well, I guess there is definitely that like scared of what happens if you call things quits. Obviously, the stakes seem to be a lot higher
Well, yeah,
in this film.
yeah, there's a lot of
I
tension there.
saw it more as like not that like not having the courage to do something naturally and feeling like you need to force something to happen. That
There's that.
so it's
I would
about
argue both of those exist.
yeah, Bear, who's our main character. He is quite shy, he's quite awkward, and he fancies a girl in his friendship group called Nikki, who you're not really sure if she likes him back the same way or not, but he is given multiple opportunities before he makes the wish to
Yeah,
make his move, to make his feelings
he
known.
has to rehearse it before it
Yeah.
happens.
She even at one point outright says to him, "Do you like me?"
And that was like, there's no clearer goalpost than that.
Exactly. So they set this guy up in a way of like, you had every chance, but you still don't have the I don't know, courage. The what? I appreciate it's an awkward thing. I remember asking a girl out once in secondary school, and she thought I was joking.
And then did you respond by pretending you're in on the joke?
I did.
That's horrible, man. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
I
It
did
worked out for the best, but
I confess. I confessed to it to her later on. But yeah, there you go. So
oh, that's not good. I mean,
it's all right. Like you said, all worked out for the best.
yeah. I mean, are you a teenager? Something like that didn't happen to you? I
No,
suppose.
but I think that makes me better than Bear, right?
Yeah, I mean, you had the balls to do it.
Yeah. For the video viewer, you may notice we have had to change. Well, I've had to change a chair as almost as if an omen from Obsession. My camping chair that I've been sitting on next to Kris just snapped.
Oh.
So
You do look very. It does look really weird. Like you're a child. I got a little sidecar on his motorbike.
I'm going now. I'm now on my desk chair, which I use for work, which is a lot taller and bigger. And now there's more.
And better.
There's more. There's more of me in the frame. I'm a lot taller than you now.
Yeah.
But yeah, where were we? Oh, having the courage to pick up girls. You wanted to say something about that. I don't know.
No, that was your point.
You said you're a loser if you don't know how to pick up 10 girls in one night.
100%, and you should
Yeah.
subscribe to the Manosphere.
Yep.
I have my life for the better.
I jog myself a little bit, man. This shirt is falling on me strangely.
You look like you're 8 feet tall.
I am not. Actually, I was about to say I am something, but then I realized there'll be spoilers for Backrooms, which people might have skipped ahead to Obsession. So
yes.
I am something from Backrooms. All right, where were we? The inherent fear of kind of very modern day relationship.
I know, to look at you, I have to fully rotate my head. I'm just gonna look at you through the screen.
So that's the premise. The premise of the film is, Bear doesn't have the courage to ask her out, and he uses this one wish willow instead. The thing that kind of I thought was quite funny, or not, no, the thing that I thought was interesting, which I didn't understand from the trailers, was that I thought this did affect Nikki herself, but it becomes more and more apparent that something darker has taken over her mind. And then the real Nikki has been suppressed and is in some kind of horrific space.
Yeah, so you thought it was a complete personality wipe
Yes.
and refresh, but she's
almost like
she's under lock and key.
Almost like she's been taken over by a demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's almost like it's put another layer over her. Like my wish is that she would love me more than anyone in the world, which is billions and billions of people in the world. That's quite a high fate. So if it's taking that wish literally and you're putting that layer on top of this person's personality, it's just a heightened, accelerated, crazy version of themselves.
Yeah.
But yes, I just want to say the performance I'd heard about it from Indie.
Naravet. I'm gonna Google this one because she's got a slightly more difficult name to pronounce, and I just want to get it right because she deserves a lot of credit for this film.
Yeah,
Indy Navarrete or Navarrete. I don't know which way she goes about saying it, but she is absolutely fantastic in this. I think her performance sells the horror of the film. And I think, you are watching the film and realizing that Bear is not the best person in the world, and therefore your protagonist is almost at the same time the antagonist. And then the actual horror element of the film, which is Nikki who has been possessed by something truly evil, but also the Nikki that is in some kind of void screaming in hell. There's so much empathy for both those characters in a
I
way,
do,
isn't
yeah.
there?
I don't. I struggle to feel any badness towards Bear because I think he was quite an authentic mirror to what the experience of growing up. No, let me finish because I think it's I think it's a little bit of someone trying to navigate themselves. It's definitely a film of self exploration because he is a people pleaser, and in every scenario he wants to please all parties in order not to have anybody point the finger at him and tell him that he's doing wrong. He's really self preserving in that way. But I do feel that there's a portion of him that is empathetic too and sympathetic towards people. And yet, yes, he makes a lot of mistakes in this, but he's also a pre college, very young person who has a lot to work out. And I feel like if he learns from an experience like this, he would become a good person later in life. I struggle to see him as a villain at all.
I had empathy for him at the very start as the film goes, as somebody who can be shy and awkward, and I think, like, we saw that a lot with Bear. As the film goes on, it becomes more and more apparent that it is not Nikki, and he is aware of that, and therefore,
But his only he learns that his only alternative is for him to die himself.
but when it is revealed that the friends are just like, this is definitely not her, and everything starts to click in his mind at the restaurant, the next scene he is raping her, essentially, which is
Yes.
where the sexual politics of this becomes very skewed, and I think it breaks down the nice guy act
Yes.
in a way that, like, there's being nice and there's being incompetent to the point of destruction.
Yes.
And I think
I do think
that's
incompetence is a big word. Yeah.
I think that's where it's like he is given so many outs, and I think by the end of the film, I found him very frustrating. And yes, it's a terrible scenario that he himself has put himself into, but he doesn't take any initiative, and he just falls further and further.
But I think he breaks down because of his self hatred towards himself. I think that really is. It's less of what's happening to him and more just like how much have I messed up? Actually, to the point that he does want to kill himself by the end of the film.
Yeah,
So yes, there are some moments in there. It'd be hard if it was somebody. It's such an exaggerated
yes,
scenario, and it's hard. It's hard for me to kind of be really, really like I hate this character just because of the bespoke nature of what's going on, and his age. But that is an interesting conversation to be had.
Well, I think that's what makes this film interesting is to be able to have those conversations,
Mhm.
because I think, yeah, I think the film does a lot to present him as like, oh, it's just Bear, he's just awkward, he's just this. But actually, I think his own cat dies because of his own incompetence at the very start of the film, because
So
he
yes,
left his pills out, and his house is a mess. He is a mess. There is, at some point, you've got to take initiative and sort yourself out. And I think if he truly liked Nikki in more than a surface level way, then I think he would have. I don't know if there was more to be done, but I think he took advantage of the situation,
yeah.
because after that moment, I think I might be remembering it differently because of our very abridged way of watching it. But I feel like it's after that moment it has the montage of them being like very lovey dovey, cooking together, watching
Yes.
films together,
Very
all that kind of
playful.
stuff, and it just like that's I think that is equally as horrific in a way.
Yeah, no, you make a really good point, and something that kind of, I guess the horror of it was kind of the primary sort of thing that overtook me during the moment, and the magic of her performance.
So good.
Um,
Because it's not, yeah, whenever she snaps back into the real Nikki for what sometimes it's literally for seconds, it is terrifying.
like someone who has been locked in hell,
Yeah.
and for a brief moment, we know that she's experienced hell in a way. It's fantastic. What I really liked about the performance, and where I was kind of worried when I saw the trailer, I thought the trailer looks really cool, but I wondered how this was going to be scripted, if it was going to be quite predictable. And this film is anything but predictable. Especially, it's really good if you know that that character, you can't tell if it's scripted or improvised. It feels like a mixture of both, because what comes out of her mouth, scene to scene, moment to moment, you cannot plan for. It's just seemingly random but intentional and pointed and scary. And when you see that reflected on Bear, you're like, your reactions are completely accurate to how I think anybody would be experiencing this. She is just absolutely, it's ingenious of what she does physically and vocally in this film. It's what keeps you on tenterhooks the entire time. Anything can happen, and it's not going to be good.
Yeah. Which is what makes that party scene so strong, because you don't know how she's going to react in a room full of people.
It's so awkward, yeah.
It's like almost like the first time you're going to see her outside of it just being her and Bear, where there's almost like all right, this horrific thing is this scary thing is happening, but at least it's just happening to me right now.
Yeah.
And then it's like how does that react around a friendship group? And obviously doesn't go down particularly well.
It is interesting.
That is like one of the best scenes of the film, I think.
That's what's so interesting about this film as well. Like I was thinking about what you were saying about, him taking advantage of the situation, and now you've mentioned that, I completely agree with that. But I think it places blame on both. I think she is also a conduit for somebody who is very her exaggerated state isn't her, but it is a conduit, and it's speaking to people that are kind of like that in real life, that don't, he has to sneak away and lie to her in order to actually go out and enjoy the company of people that actually make him feel safe.
You're right. It does turn more into like a almost a
domestic abuse.
An abusive relationship. Yeah, you're fully right there.
I think it is both of those things, and it's amazing that it's expensive enough. Like this little horror film that is reacting in your brain with all the synapses, is just like getting you thinking about all these things in a sporadic way. But it's also like visually very creative. It plays with light and shadow really well. There's this scene where she comes to the front door and she's never in light, and almost a cat's eyes are punctuating through the screen.
They actually just used like makeup for that. Like it was just like,
was it just makeup? These contact lenses?
I don't know about the contact lenses, but I know that there's almost like contoured her cheek, so she just looks a little
angular,
bit more like, but you don't see any of that because it's all in darkness. But it's like there's something off about her face.
Something really off.
Yeah. It's really well done, and it's almost like, and this is almost where the creativity comes in, part of the budget limitations and stuff like that. But it's very focused on its scenes. When it's in them, you are very central to those characters. You are very close in with those characters.
Yeah, limitations birth creativity. It's always been that way.
100%. And just like, man, I honestly, I can't wait to watch it again, because I think there's just so much going on. And I think this is where, people are talking about there's this Gen Z filmmaking cohort coming about. I think like this is tapping in to stuff that people, or like this generation, want to talk about, kind of these things like identity, relationships, sexual politics, and like consent, and kind of like we've been talking about, like lines get blurry in this film until they don't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's also speaking to this is an exaggerated scenario, and I think a lot of great horror movies are anchored in realism. Like they're speaking to something that's true, and I can't speak to it. I can only imagine and sympathize, not empathize with people who can. Well, because I haven't experienced it. That's the nature of empathy, isn't it? I can only think of there be some people seeing this film in a screening and feeling probably that this might be bringing up some memories for them, or again, it's exaggerated, but that people have experienced quite scary relationships like this from both sides, and there's an element of truth in there, and it's like I'm watching this and I'm everybody's normal is their normal when they're with somebody, They normalize it to the point that, oh, everybody must be like this. Every couple has like has a bit of this, and it's not true, and it's kind of like reflecting that back to us. But yeah, it's just excellent filmmaking, and quite like sad at some points, and like quite
Incredibly sad.
there's
Yeah.
like a romantic scene, like there's between Bear and another girl he works where they work.
Are you about to go into spoilers?
No, I was just gonna say that it was sad, but like we can do.
Spoiler warning for Obsession.
Yeah.
Carry on, Chris. Sorry.
No. There's a very like the relationship is getting worse and worse. It's escalating. It's not good for anybody, and he's now starting to form a relationship with another girl. It's kind of the rom-com thing where it's like, I'm the one you weren't really. I was there all along, but like I'm the friend that kind of has developed into someone who's a bit more like you, and maybe I'm the girl that you should have picked all along. And they kind of go out for a secret like nighttime chat in a car, and it's like a proper 90s, like it's like got some really cool like low-key grunge music in the background, and you're falling into this like, kind of romantic setting, and it ends horribly, and it's like it's both, it feels like a really well earned betrayal towards the audience in a really good way, where you're just like, oh, I wanted something nice was happening here, and now everybody's losing. It sucks. But it's got a sick sense of humor behind it too. It's a real dark sense of humor that's not always laugh out loud funny, but it's like, God, you got me. And isn't that really rare in a modern horror film?
Yeah.
Like, that's the feeling of I was felt manipulated the entire film, but in the way the best horror movies do. It's like going back to like one of the classics in the 70s or 80s that you've seen from a filmmaker like Carpenter, or it's just, I feel the modern classic in the making when I'm watching this, and that's a real treat. And I do believe the hype around this movie, and I wasn't like crazy excited for this before. I just knew, I heard it's good. Well, let's check it out and let's see. And it's like, wow, it deserves every bit of praise that it's getting.
Yeah, agreed. I'm a big fan, and I'll be watching this again as soon as I am able to. Because,
what if you watch it again? You're like, oh, that's actually kind of terrible.
Yeah. I can't imagine that being the case, because whenever there were moments of silence throughout the audience, I was able to soak in the film, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, I'm really vibing with this. I love what this film is doing. That being said, I am glad that this experience happened with this film rather than Backrooms. If I had to choose one or the other,
would have been harder to come back to.
I think it would have been. I don't think I would have enjoyed Backrooms nearly as much if I couldn't sink into that world.
Yeah, because for I'll be honest, there's very little reason for me to return to Backrooms, just because I feel like I got what that film was saying, and my experience of it was kind of mixed. So, but this is a film that, I think I could watch once a year, 100%.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. What would you wish for?
That's a hard one.
I mean, I don't think I'd use it at all at this point.
It's the genie in the lamp theme. It's very, it's the wording. It's all about the wording. You got to say it. Even if you said something like, I wish everybody in the world was nice, it would not become a nightmare too in itself.
Yeah, that probably would.
Yeah.
I wonder what because the guy wished for $1 billion, and
they literally rained on him.
But like didn't kill him. I thought that's what that was gonna do. I thought there was gonna be so much that he'd like be drowned in billions of dollars, but he just gets his comeuppance at the end by entering at the wrong time. And being shot in the head, which is pretty horrible in itself. I don't know what I wish for. Interesting that Nikki made a wish at the end of the film as well, and obviously that was for him to love her back, but at that point he's already taken all the pills. I thought that was a really interesting twist, because I wondered if the twist was going to be she wished that he could never die, so that therefore, I don't know, that scene where he's overdosed on his own pills, he wakes up and he's just in a hospital bed.
Oh man,
paraplegic, and there she is, still there, ready to look after him for the rest of her life.
He still has the ailments that would have caused him to die, but he almost 20 years time, he's just like a mangled looking corpse that's like still alive. That's pretty cool.
But I guess in the end, it was more she wanted him to love her as much. Like he was seconds away from being trapped forever in that relationship.
So cool. I mean, anyone who hasn't seen it yet, you should go see it. It's one of those films I just want to show everybody that I know straight away. yeah, like it permeated the experience that was really negative, and I felt that's why the audience was quite angry, I think,
Mm.
and turned against them
So
because
true.
everyone was having such a great time
So true.
that I think it was if it was anything else, people would have just left and got the refund and whatever. But
Yeah.
it spoke to the film that we sat between for 20 minutes of silence whilst an ongoing potentially police dispute was happening. That we wanted to see the ending of it. We were too deep in there. We were too
Yeah.
deep in there, and that's I don't know if I would have done that for Backrooms. Maybe I don't really quit easy.
No, I don't either, which is sometimes to a detriment
Oh,
because, like, should we have just left
but
and
also
come back
morbid
another day?
curiosity because I wanted to see how the drama in screen was going to happen.
Yeah,
Oh well.
difficult, difficult.
But yeah, two very interesting films, and summer's kind of started really.
Well, should I roll the tapes? Do you want to take your top off?
That's post. That's post credits. Yeah, I'll
Oh,
get it.
post credits, take
Yeah.
your top. Roll the tapes.
I haven't got my beach body at the minute, man.
Go into all right. What were you gonna say? I'm so sorry. I just wanted a good cut.
Okay. I would say it's a very interesting topic to talk about. It's certainly something new in horror, but it's kind of alluded to this because the last sort of several years, as your Ari Asters have come around, Robert Eggers, filmmakers like that. It seems like the genre that amasses fans the quickest rate than any other genre. You can make 1 to 2 great horror films, and suddenly everybody knows your name. And it's funny, like even Osgood Perkins, like he made a film like Long Legs, and the marketing seemed to have like prevailed over the actual product of the film. Like I don't know, he thinks Long Legs is like the greatest film ever made, but now everybody knows Osgood Perkins' name,
Yeah.
and it's fascinating how that can really work. So this seems like a byproduct of that as well.
Yeah.
Is it a precedent going forward? Well, I think at the end of the day, the young YouTuber who's been given a project like this has to be talented. You have to be
Yeah.
talented, or else it doesn't really work.
You also had that other YouTuber do a kind of like sci-fi horror film at the start of the year, Iron Lung, Markiplier. This is where I get a bit
based
fuzzy.
on like video game,
Yeah.
background, and then that one didn't do so well.
Well, it did in terms of he self-financed it and got it in cinemas himself. So he bypassed the studio system and therefore got his fans to demand it going into cinemas, and it made a lot of money.
Yes.
Like it made more money than he put into it.
It wasn't critically well received.
Critically not super well received, but in terms of financially for him, and I think going forward YouTube, because I think it's only available to buy on YouTube.
Okay.
I think very good, and I like that. Like they don't all have to be good, but like I like the fact that YouTube is now starting to democratize who gets to make films.
Yeah.
And I know it's early days, and there's been YouTube films before, but like not in this sense. And yeah, I like that about it. I don't
like
know
it.
enough YouTubers. That's my problem.
Yeah.
Is that I watch YouTube, but I don't think I'm like in with as many like creators on there who are specifically just
Same. It's only if somebody tells me, "Oh, you should check this out. It's really cool."
like I'd never heard of. Well, I guess I'd heard of the Backrooms, but I hadn't heard of Kane Parsons. I hadn't heard of Curry Barker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm exactly the same position as you. Like the only thing I get a little bit nervous with of anything that Hollywood gets excited about is oversaturation and then diminishing quality.
learning the wrong lessons as well. Like,
Which
oh,
Hollywood
maybe we
loves.
just need to get a random
Yeah.
YouTube person in to
Oh,
make
yeah.
a film.
Yeah, we were talking about Star Wars last week. Next Star Wars directed by 22-year-old so and so, and then
Star Wars Theory gets brought in to create a new Star Wars film.
then watch that person have a complete mental breakdown because it's a completely not suitable environment for them to kind of be introduced to. So
Yes.
yeah.
What do you mean I have to put women in my Star Wars?
Bro, where director's
All male.
director's chair of his tank top and backwards cap. Yeah, no, it's it's very interesting. The summer if anything else, the summer season has started off really strongly, and if it sustains itself with like Spielberg and everything coming around the corner and the Odyssey, it's going to be a really good summer, and we need those. We need as a kid, I feel like we had a lot of that, and they kind of went away for a while. Yeah, bring back the summer blockbuster, even if it's horror. And it seems like a horror movie can be a blockbuster now, which is great.
Absolutely, it was stealing money out of Mandalorian and Grogu's hands, and I think that's very interesting as well.
Yeah.
Like to see that like there's a young audience that doesn't want Mandalorian and Grogu. There's a young audience that wants more interesting films, and like a lot of people say that like, oh, the young generation aren't going to the cinema, but there's been studies now that show that like Gen Z are turning up for films.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is good.
Maybe it was the 30 Gen Zs that turned up to our screening.
Yeah, maybe we should be a bit kinder to that. Maybe like, well,
Yeah.
I actually,
At least they were there.
no, but I don't think a lot of them bought tickets, though, did they?
It didn't feel that way, did it? When
there were a lot of IDs being checked during that
Yes.
disruption. Yeah.
Oh, I threw my ticket away. I heard a lot of that.
It wasn't even me. It was him over there. Yeah. You know that. You know, it was like being in a classroom. But anyway,
It was.
We've talked about that to
We
nauseam,
have.
though, but you would too.
Yeah, interesting times. Will be interesting to see if this is just like a coincidence that this has been like a month of these films coming out back to back and having somewhat similar backstories to them, or similar journeys to get them created, or whether this is the start of something.
Yeah, it'd be weird to have two within the same couple of weeks and then radio silence for like the next couple of years, wouldn't it? So there will be some sort of trend and probably wrong lessons taken from this, I fear. That's me being cynical, but Hollywood rarely does things.
And let's give some like female YouTube creators a chance as well.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like
All perspectives are
yeah,
wanted
like
to.
let's get some more. Like it's good that this is happening, but it is just like another two white men to be added to the world of directors. Let's get some more diversity.
I'm also not aware of the space, that sort of area of the internet, that much to kind of.
I couldn't point to anybody and
No,
say
no.
like they should make a film.
I know people that make like Lego or get their Thomas the Tank Engine figures out and stuff like that, but no, it's not really the part. I'm part of the internet I'm looking at.
My guilty pleasure is # Brady. But I don't think he should make a film.
First time mentioned.
I don't think he should make a film, but I do like watching his YouTube videos.
Yeah, that's a voice that shouldn't be put out there, but I enjoy also for the guilty pleasure.
Yeah. Apart from that, there's not many.
It's when you just watch somebody, you're like, my life is never going to be your life out of ethical choice, but it's fascinating to watch. It's kind of like that. It's like reality TV. I don't want to be working on a yacht or like a desperate. I'm a housewife or anything like that.
In a way, Dan Trachtenberg was kind of a content creator turned filmmaker, now doing the Predator films. But like I remember watching the Totally Rad show back on YouTube back in the days, and that he was like one of the hosts on there. So like that was interesting to watch that journey, but he didn't. I guess he hasn't been accredited that as much, because I think he did the. Do you remember there was a Portal short film?
Oh, okay.
So he did that, and that's what brought him to fame, rather than like anything specifically YouTube. I believe anyway.
They've been trying to make Portal into a film for years. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are now rumors or discussions that Kane Parsons. They want him to do a Portal movie.
Oh, okay.
He has said he's not interested in a lot of franchise stuff. He was on the Town podcast the other day, and they said, like, do you want to make a Star Wars? And he was like, no. Like he's very much interested in internet culture more than anything. And he said, like, there's a couple of things from his childhood that he would be interested in, but he didn't allude to what they would be.
Coco Melon.
But yeah, maybe Portal's one of those. Who knows? But yeah,
it's very. I work. If I was him, fantastic gig, so incredible success and exposure to the industry. But I'd be so nervous. Like, what do I do next? What do I do next? It means that I stay around. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
I would not get involved with anybody that isn't A24 at this point.
Or Neon.
Well, maybe Neon, but just like they brought you up. Stay with them, because I think they'll allow you to have the freedom to do what you want. Whereas if you suddenly jumped into like Disney, they wouldn't.
You'd be eaten alive.
Your freedom would be taken away. Essentially, they'd be like, "You're too young. Like you might have made one good film, but now you know."
I bet Disney have approached him already.
Probably.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah,
I imagine everybody is, to be fair, at this point. But yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Anyway, that took an interesting few twists and turns.
Yeah, just like the movies. Yeah,
just like the movies. Chairs broke.
Yeah.
I'm Giant Alex. Lots of stuff happened there.
My water broke.
All right, but next week, I think we are having another little break. Just one week break. But yeah, we're slowly getting back into the things.
Yeah,
and,
100%.
you got to go back to Cornwall for the weekend. And,
Yeah.
we just like let us figure our way of doing this out from now on, because chairs are breaking. We're not, this is
limbs are falling off.
Limbs are falling off. This is not a polish machine yet. So yeah, just 1 week break. 1 week break. Don't worry, it's not gonna be a 9-week break, and then we'll be back.
Yay!
So,
Awesome.
Woo. So yeah, but we hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you liked it, you can rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple. You can subscribe and like us on YouTube. You can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at The Film Angle, where you can keep up to date with us there. But yeah, that's been the episode for this week.
Yeah, pleasure talking to you, Alex.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, and goodbye.
See you later.
See you later.